Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing okay as you sit here to watch this video. I'm sitting here with my cup of coffee because we had a question in the one of the videos around coffee and anxiety. Should you have it? Should you not? Should you avoid it? What does it do to the body? Should you try and deliberately have it and cope with it? Is it bad, good? So that's what I'm talking about today. Coffee, obviously caffeine, the key ingredient in there, the activating ingredient that stimulates the nervous system. You might also think about things like sugar as well, because they stimulate the nervous system and the body or our senses in other ways as well. So that's what I'm talking about in this video. Should you drink coffee when you're anxious? Should you avoid it? How much is too much? Etc. etc. So, as always, I like to have consistency with our approach to anxiety, regardless of what the specific topic is. So, if you're thinking about coffee or anything like that, alcohol even, and I might do a separate video on booze and alcohol, but it's good to have a consistent approach, a principle that you apply to any approach you take with how you deal with the anxiety or panic, whatever it is that you've got in your life. Often we come onto these channels, we want these black and white simple solutions. We want to be told how much is enough, how much is too much, what I should or shouldn't do, which is understandable, and I've done that myself many times. But it's ultimately probably less helpful because everyone's circumstances are slightly different. So, first thing is, coffee is not bad or good. It's important just to understand the effect it has on your nervous system at any one point in time. So if you've drunk coffee before, sometimes it can, stimulate you in some ways. It can put you on edge. Sometimes we can feel the heart race a bit more. We can feel the adrenaline surge a bit. So it does change us physiologically, and that obviously can then mimic symptoms of anxiety. And so if we're already a bit vulnerable, we're feeling extra sensitized, our nervous system is already maybe on high alert, we might want to be just conscious of the effects that coffee has on us. So we just want to make these really clear, deliberate, conscious choices without being too rigid or strict with ourselves. Remember, being controlled, rigid, and strict is part of the reasons why we get into anxiety in the first place, because we're holding on to things, we're repressing, we're trying to sort of control every aspect of life, and that leads to tension over time. So we just try to want to be flexible with it. There's no hard and fast rules other than to try and be really clear for yourself on the effect any substance that you consume has on your body, has on your mind, and it may be different at different times. So I'm here feeling relatively calm. I've actually had a busy week. Having my coffee, it's not a particularly strong one, but I have to still be conscious. Even though I'm recovered, I'm prone to stress like anyone else. If I get busy, there's lots going on. Sometimes I might avoid or reduce my intake of coffee. I really enjoy the ritual of coffee, or some people make tea. I really enjoy the ritual of doing that, the feeling of it, the heat. So drinking it very mindfully, enjoying the taste, the smell of it as it's brewing. I often do my stretches in the morning as I'm making it. So it's something I really look forward to and enjoy. But absolutely, at certain times, I might reduce the intake. Maybe I won't have coffee at all. I might substitute it for a peppermint tea. Sometimes you might have decaf if you enjoy the ritual, but you're actually thinking, you know what, today I don't need that extra stimulation on the nervous system. So, in short, caffeine does affect our physical symptoms of anxiety, which can obviously stimulate thoughts, etc. It can mimic them. So, we just want to be discerning for ourselves, as to what effect it has on us. And so, I encourage you just to do a test and learn approach. Play around with it. If you feel it's affecting you, maybe substitute one coffee in for a decaf if you still enjoy the coffee, and just see how that goes. Think about maybe reducing a cup, whatever it might be, and just try and be conscious of the effect of it. We Someone asked, should we actually expose ourselves or try and practice coping with coffee? Again, if we're trying to stick to the principles of recovery that I talk about in these videos, we don't want to deliberately expose ourselves to anything. You've got plenty of symptoms, thoughts that will arise naturally for you to practice and work with. So you don't want to be deliberately trying to cope with drinking coffee. Drink coffee if you genuinely enjoy it, enjoy the taste, the ritual, but don't try and expose yourself to it because that's buying into the seriousness of anxiety because you're trying to expose yourself to something because ultimately you really fear it. If we know that anxiety, while highly unpleasant, is ultimately not serious, we don't need to expose ourselves or deliberately try and cope with these things. So I hope that helps. The same rules apply to dark chocolate. I love dark chocolate. Really good for you in many respects. It's got lots of antioxidants in it. I'm no nutritionist, but we know that. But again, you might think about, well, when you have your dark chocolate, because it's got caffeine in it, I might not have it at night, or one square is enough. Whatever it might be for you, Red Bull, those caffeine drinks, maybe they've got high levels of caffeine, so they might be just too intense, particularly if you're in a vulnerable state, you're sensitized, you're recovering. So we just want to again be your own expert in regard to this. Think about, well, how do I feel when I've had it? Experiment not having it and see how you feel. Obviously, if we've got a bit of an addiction to something, that might play into it as well. So you want to be aware of that. So maybe if you feel it's having a negative impact and you want to pull back, do it slowly. Let's just do small steps. Let's just reduce 1 cup down to two. Have a weaker coffee. Start like that. Have a decaf, so you're still fulfilling the habit, but you're pulling back slowly. So absolutely, caffeine does stimulate the nervous system, which can be harder to cope with. So I would say if you're having a particularly tough moment, why would you put the extra pressure on yourself? But over time, you can figure out what your routine is. You might pull back for a few months. You might, when you're feeling calmer, decide to have a coffee. You might stop completely. No right or wrong here. But I'm encouraging you to take back the power of these decisions and apply these calm, assured principles of how you approach anxiety in all areas of life so you can make these calm choices that are relevant to your lifestyle and what you want to do, as opposed to feeling like are these hard and fast rules around it. Hope that helps. Enjoy your coffee if you're drinking it. Enjoy your peppermint tea if you're not, your water, whatever it is. And I hope to see you again very soon. As always, please ask me any questions in the comments if you have any. Take care.